Well, hello, hello. We are live. Happy Thursday night. I'm so thrilled to be here tonight. I have my good friend Dr. Michael Gross with me, and I'm going to go ahead and just say, give you a minute to say hi to everybody who's joining us.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm really excited you can join us and be channeling some wonderful information for all of us. So, thank you.
Thank you for giving us your time, Michael. And I'm going to go ahead and just for a few minutes introduce you to those of us who don't know, or those of you who don't know Michael yet. Dr. Michael Gross is a professional keynote speaker. He's an energy transformational coach. He's my spiritual mentor, and he can be yours as well. He's also the author of the Spiritual Primer, which we'll talk about a little bit more. And I'm hoping too, Michael, that you'll also mention your upcoming workshop before we leave, okay? Michael has a powerful topic today, and I'll just give you just a couple of little nuggets about Michael, and then I'm going to let him talk about the topic because I'm blown away by this one. For over 30 years, Michael has been a spiritual teacher, multidimensional healer, and he's been incredibly skilled in all aspects of soul, oversoul, vibrations, frequencies, body timing, life force energies, and so much more. I'll put all his contact information in the comments section so that you can get it. But he offers a complimentary consultation, so you want to make sure you grab that information. It's definitely well worth your time to have that time with him, just one-on-one time with Michael. And you can do it on the phone, on a Zoom, however you're comfortable doing it. And he's also his book is also titled Spiritual Primer: Applying God's 12 Transformational Laws to Reawaken Your Soul by Reconnecting to God, the True Source, to experience your true sources, love, joy, and happiness. Michael has clients around the world. I know he's got some in Australia, Brazil, Korea, South Korea, um, Canada, the US, and I know I'm missing some places, but I'm just blown away by how vast your reach is to these people, and how blessed I am that you spend time with us here on Thursday nights. So I'm going to go ahead and just let you have the floor. Your topic tonight is ego.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. In our world today, there's so much chaos that's going on and so much division and so much. I think there's a great deal of a lack of respect that's going on the planet. I thought I'd illustrate something, and that is that um, something's going on a planet where we've lost respect and honoring one another. And there was a newscaster called The Rest of the News. Last name was Thomas, I think, or something like that. Anyway, he was talking that he did his radio broadcast, and he decided, since he did it from his house, then why bother to get out of his pajamas? And he started doing it. And friends called up and said, "You're getting a little sloppy." And he suddenly realized, well, yeah. So he put on a sport jacket or suit and tie, and he didn't have to. And it changed his whole attitude and energy. And that's something I'd like to talk to you all about, is ego. So ego stands for edging God out, if you will. And what's the derivation? How did the ego get started? Well, believe it or not, after you go through the birth canal, up at the age of 3, you're talking to your guides and angels. Now, you may doubt that, but if you watch a baby staring into thin air and laughing and all this stuff, they actually see them. And then the veil of forgetfulness descends upon them around the age of 3, and they kind of miss that conversation. So in their mind, we can imagine anything we want. So they were just imagining they're still talking to their angels or guides, or maybe an imaginary friend they were playing with, or whatever. And that begins the start of the ego. Now, all thoughts are energy. Energy coagulates, in other words, bonds together. And if you keep thinking of certain thought, you're going to create that in your life. Well, as a little child, even though the child is 3 or 4 years old, or 5, whatever, and 3 or 4 barely talking, still has a brain. His brain is actually functioning. And the soul, well, some people want to know how old a soul is. How old's the universe? That's how old your soul is. You're here from the very beginning. And the soul is able to communicate with an energy in a field of your thoughts. And that becomes the ego. So the ego is a conglomeration of vibrations of energies of which you made up. And then it begins to take on some kind of intelligence. Energy has an intelligence. For example, if you take electrical energy, right? And it comes through wires. And that energy, you plug it into the lights and you got lights. Plug it in the stove, you can cook with it. Plug it into your heating and air conditioning unit, that's what you're getting. So it's pliable. So this energy that's very pliable begins to take on your feelings and emotions. And first to support you. You can do this, you can do that. Then after a while, it becomes self-serving. And the greatest fear the ego has is it knows when you birth out of your body, it's bye-bye. So now it's trying to control you. It's living an energy of creating chaos or doubt or fear or anxiety in your life so it can control you. It thrives off that energy. You can't, for example, take natural gas and put electricity together and form energy because it'll blow up, cause a flame. So like attracts like. So it begins to attract this kind of vibration and energy. And after a while, it becomes self-serving. And if it lives in fear, it goes, push your button, push that button, and you begin to doubt yourself. So our greatest fear, false evidence appearing real, is the doubt that we have, which is created by the ego. And other times it said, well, you can achieve this, and you do. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I know Tia wants to say something, so I'm going to address another point.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have this question just popped into my head. So our soul is unconditional love, right?
Yes,
And our ego, whatever it is trying to manipulate us to not listen to our soul. Is that right?
that's correct.
So can our ego draw upon our past and use it as a tool against us?
Your ego?
Yes. Can our
Yeah.
ego draw upon subconscious memories?
Yes, it can. It can. It can't access it unless you think about it. It can only access what it's learned from the day you were born to this point. So, in other words, if you have a past life memory that you were a gladiator and you think about it, then the ego has access to it. Otherwise, it doesn't. But it has this desire to be in control. Now, I want to spread this out. It's an aura or energy, not a true auric field, but it's a vibration of energy that you have created, which has some type of intelligence. So, I'm going to talk about my deceased wife. She worked for Boeing Aircraft. And she would go to get up in the morning, get there really early, and go, my company. And I kept hearing it. And everybody that didn't work on the labor force, my company, my company. And they all wanted to go in early. They worked overtime. They just wanted to get all this done. And I noticed employee after employee after employee that weren't in the labor fields. And then I realized there was an aura of energy or an energy field, which had its own ego, that everybody who worked for Boeing began to feel the same way and do the same things. It was infectious. You wouldn't feel that way when you first went to them, but a few months later, you'd start taking on that energy and field. Okay. And then they were bought out, and then they didn't bought out, but they were merged with McDonnell Douglas, and everything changed. And then the attitude began to change. So the whole energy field of Boeing changed. They'll make great airplanes, but I'm just using that as an example. And that's with General Motors, that's with Ford, Chrysler, but it's also with you. Your ego is an energy about you, how you feel and interpret things. Or if you have a small company, or maybe you're a one-person company or a two-person company, it has that energetic auric field about it. So now that I've laid a little bit of a background, it is our desire in our lifetime to take ego and say, thank you very much. I'll get back to you later. Not to be controlled by ego and manipulated by ego. And that's our greatest challenge. because you don't feel worthy a person or love or whatever unless they do something spectacular, and it has to draw it to them. Like, I have a Gucci handbag, or I have a Gucci suit, or I have a Rolls Royce, or I have a Rolex watch, or whatever. It's all about ego. And the ego says, yeah, you need this for people to like you. Yeah, you need this to be accepted. You need this to show you're successful. And what we've lost is the grand gift of who you truly are. And who are you, whatever you. Have you ever thought about that? Set aside the ego. I'll be with you in a minute, ego. But who am I? I'm a soul in a human body experiencing life. And I know I was created out of love, by love, from love, and with love. I don't know what that feels like. I don't know if I still feel it. And that's when the ego is taking control. And that's when you have given up who you truly are, the soul that you are. You've forgotten it. And that's what the ego does. It's self-satisfying. Now, sometimes when, not all the time, most of the time, I take somebody out for dinner, I feel really good about it. I feel happy. Is that my ego? Maybe, but isn't that my true soul? Because I'm sharing my love. I'm sharing what I have, or I have you over for dinner. The difference is whether that's ego you're having over for dinner, you take them out to dinner because you're looking for plaudits. So you're looking for something to say, hey, you're special, or you just do it out of love. So if you're doing it to get acceptance or appreciated, or saying that you're different, it's ego. But you do it out of love. That's an entirely different story because you love you. But the universal law says is that you must learn, that's why we're all here, to learn about unconditional love, allowingness, and non-judgmentalness. And then you look around with your ego. I don't have a car of this kind. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have that. I wish I had that. I wish I had that. Until you become very sick and ill. Then you realize the small things in life are more important. Like Steve Jobs, he was worth $7 billion. But I'll reiterate this again. He said, a $30 watch will tell the same time as a $1,000 watch. A $2,000 car will get you the same place as a several $100,000 car. So what makes you want something? Well, sometimes we want to experience different things in life. And here's the tip, whether it's your ego or not. So let's say you buy the Rolls Royce and it's $150,000. I don't know, but we'll say that. And you drive it and have fun. But then here's the test. After a year or two, can you give it away? Say, I tried that. I'll give it away. Somebody else have fun. I'll think I'll go buy a Toyota Corolla or whatever. That's the test, whether it's your ego or not. And many times we do things innately, unknowingly, to make us feel good. Well, if we don't feel good about ourselves, will anything make us feel good? So we become addicted to finding whatever makes us feel good. And we forgot the most important thing. And the most important thing in our life is we're here to experience everything in this incarnation. We're here to experience everything that exists in this incarnation, but still retain our identity. So what is an identity? You're a soul having experience. It's a human experience. And that you were created out of love, by love, and from love, and you begin to do loving things. Now we look about our world around us, politically divided. I don't care what country you're from. It's all politically divided. But you can't see the big picture. There's no critical thinking. And where do you get your information from? Well, we know if it's on the internet, it must be true, right? Or TikTok's all got to be true, or whatever the press says, you get snippets. Oh, it's got to be true. But you don't use the gift of discernment. Is it really true? Is it really happening? And we look around, and right now in the United States, our current president has tariffs, and hoping that we'll collect enough in tariffs so that we won't have to have income tax, which wouldn't just make me unhappy, but I realize we have to support this country. But I'm being apolitical. That means neutral. But some of the countries have said, well, we give you $300-400 million worth of cars we manufacture, and we're going to put a tariff or not ship them to you. And everybody's getting frightened. But what does critical thinking say? Well, if that company does not take American cars they're building and shipping it to us, what are they going to do with all their employees? What are they going to do with all their factories? What are they going to do with all their corporations and all the money they've invested into everything? Aren't they going to also suffer? So then you become egos. My country is better than your country is better than yours. And who gets hurt? The individual. They're losing totally sight of it. It's all about the ego and trying to prove something. Originally, here in the United States, we never had income tax. We existed on tariffs. And then later on, there was some income tax was installed, but I'm not going to go into the history of it. What I am going to say is that we have to get out of our ego and begin to discern whether what we're listening to is it right or not. So some people will go to fact checkers. What I've learned, some of the fact checkers are pro this party or pro that party, so you're not getting really the truth. And actually, it's always somebody's opinion. But when there's opinion, there's two sides to it. And that's what we're not looking at. And which one is not ego ridden? I want to prove I'm right because I don't like this person as the leader of our country. Or do we look at it and like, yeah, I can see the fallacies and things that are going on. That's a macrocosm. Let's take it to the microcosm. Your relationships with other people and whom you work with. There's a symbiotic relationship with your friends and your families. You'll attract people that think the way you think. And that's kind of part of the law of attraction. But here's where the division is beginning to come from. And that is getting out of the ego, trying not to attract people to think the way you think, but think of the way people who are not politically or oriented towards one party or the other, or neutral, or want to really experience and enjoy life, the beauty of life. And that's what we're missing. When I was growing up, the kids would play outside. When the street lights went on, we were told to come home. Or they would call, Michael, dinner time or whatever. And we didn't wear helmets. We rode our bikes everywhere we went and all those things. We didn't have play dates. We made our own friends. There was a lot of power in that. The power is you learn to be strong and independently strong and not codependent. And what's happening right now with the ego, we're looking at everybody to throw us a life raft or throw us a rope to save ourselves or whatever. But we've forgotten that all answers lie within. That's not the ego. And that we have the power to create anything in our life. And look what you've created. Look at your life. All the trials and tribulations, all the joy, all the happiness. You have manifested and created all that. And in the process of today, many souls lost their identity. I'm Dr. Michael Gross. So here I am, right? Instead of I am Michael Gross. So you're wondering why I use Dr. Michael Gross, because that's a title that I earned. I worked for it. I had to learn a lot for it. Does that make me better than Jane or John who just graduated high school? Absolutely not. Not at all. However, whatever your title is I am the soul Michael. That is the soul to you. And that I am going to now express love and joy and happiness. And people see that as a weakness because egos, they're weak. They don't have much money. They're making this as an excuse. So how do you overcome the ego? The ego says, edging God out. So it's that little whisper in your ear. And when you hear that, you go, thank you very much, ego. I'll get back to you. Don't fight it. Say, I'll get back to you. Because our greatest challenge and why we're here for is to overcome our ego. And then there's a difference between ego and confidence. Ego says, look at me, I can do this. I'm a great painter and I'm a great this. Confidence goes, oh, that's really great. What do you do? Well, I just paint pictures. And you don't care what people say or think. That's not only being humble, that's not making any type of ego representation to say I'm great or I'm wonderful. So that's so important. And when we were growing up, you would address me as, Mr. Gross or Dr. Gross or Miss Knapp or Mrs. Knapp or whatever. Now kids call you by the first name. What's wrong with that? It's a lack of respect and understanding. It's a subconscious thought to that 8-year-old, 7-year-old. They are equivalent to you, but they're not equivalent to you. They don't have the knowledge of you. They don't respect you. And if they don't respect you, how are they going to learn anything? So they watch TikTok or Reels or whatever they're watching, and that's the way things are to go. So unbelievable, so confusing out there that the ego is tied to it. The other day, friends of mine, we went to a restaurant and they had a smash burger. And I go, okay, I never had a smash burger. Well, they take a quarter-pound hamburger and make it super flat. So we saw it going by and we ordered a double smash burger. 2 pieces of crusty meat with hard, a little soft in the middle. You couldn't sink your teeth into it, but the condiments they put on it was made it tasty, the ketchup, lettuce, tomato, maybe mayonnaise, onions, bacon, whatever you put on it. And then after we went out with my friends, what do you think? It's tasteless. I don't know what the kids see in it, but that's the trend. And so what are they doing? Because it's on TikTok, it's becoming trend. They don't understand quality and they don't understand any of that. All they know is their computer. But whose fault is that? It's yours. It's mine. You have to take responsibility. They are not everything they really boast. I remember there was a little humor. So when we took pictures, this is a vacation we went to Paris. This is a vacation our family went on a picnic. This is us, going skiing. What are the pictures today? This is what I had for lunch. This is what I had for breakfast. This is what a pair of shoes I thought I wanted to buy, but I don't want to buy. This is a picture of me chewing gum. I mean, what the heck is going on? Will our great grandchildren say, what the hell is going on with our parents or grandparents? They took pictures of food? You wanted to say something to you.
I do. Thank you, Michael. So knowing that the younger generations, I'll just say, are so into the devices and holding a conversation with one another happens to be coming when they're texting across the table to one another. How do you see the effect of AI upon the ego of the younger generations as well as us?
Pass me a half a gallon of vodka before I talk about it.
Okay, wait, let me see if I have it right here.
AI can be very helpful and very useful. Okay, and you used to have Encyclopedia Britannica, so now AI, you can look up these things or Alexa, whatever, and you get information on it. And it's kind of easy to update rather than the encyclopedias. But there was value in the encyclopedias. You didn't know if the information was 100% correct. You assumed it was. But you learned how to research it and cross-reference it. And that gave you knowledge rather than, AI, tell me about Columbus. Click, 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 30 seconds, 20 seconds. Here's about Columbus. Did you bother to read it? Did you bother to do any research? Did you retain it? Did you understand it? No, it's done. And the other part of the danger of AI is it can be emulating or copying someone else, and you can think I could be talking to you, and I may be talking things that are terrible, and AI has been able to do that. They can copy my voice, my mannerisms, and make me look like me when it's not truly me. And that's the danger. Because if it's not used correctly and it will be manipulated, you'll never know if you're getting the truth. And AI is based on everything in the computer. So, for example, it researches all this information. If I say oranges are orange and lime green, and you research it to say oranges are orange and lime green. Well, we know they're not lime green. They may be green when they first, blossom, but they're not really lime green. What are the future generations going to do? What are they going to learn? And how much of the brain are they using? They discovered in COVID that a lot of the children were getting depressed and they weren't using all facets of their brain. They were beginning to shut down because they were working at home. We don't know if they did the homework or not or whatever, or followed through. So we're at a precipice, and it's all about ego, but it's giving up your authority to ego to run your life rather than to leaving to the thoughts of your soul. So a little bit about your soul. In our next podcast, I'll talk more about it. But remember, your soul is here to protect you, to assist you to learn what you came here to learn, and to do right action and correct exchange. And you're not listening to the thoughts of the soul. Maybe sometime. But it's all anything that's self satisfying. That's what it's all about. Self satisfying. You're becoming your ego. And you're here to learn to discern the difference between your ego and who you are. Where are we? We're at a precipice. We're divided. We're not listening to our critical thinking. We're letting others influencing us, which may or may not be true. And then, in a lot of political parties all over the world, they want corruption ended. And when they end the corruption or start to do it, then they got mad because it may cost jobs or their favorite politician will be exposed. Then they want to stop it. Well, that's really great. So if no changes come, you've created an ego of a corporation or a business or a government that is all consuming and has no feelings or emotion as you as an individual. Because you see, our emotions is what controls, manipulates, and creates our life. And that's the most important. When you live with your emotions of love and you look at everything and very lovingly, you have compassion and understanding, you go, doesn't feel right. What can I do? What do I need to do? Let me meditate, listen to my thoughts and my soul. So more to come, but I thank you for joining me. And I know we're running out of time, not quite there yet. Therefore, I'd like to talk about a few things. First thing I'd like to address to all of you is that on April 4th, 5th, and 6th, I'm doing the 12 protocols of manifestation. And in the 12 protocols, it's Friday night, Pacific time, 5:30 to 7:30, Saturday, 9:30 to 5:30, Sunday, 9:30 to 4:30. Well, that's a big commitment for a weekend. However, if it can change your life, which it will, and can enhance your life and bring love and joy, what is it giving up a weekend? You give up a weekend to go skiing, you give up a weekend to go on vacation, and what do you learn? You learn you had a good time. That's it. Then you come back to work exhausted, and you went from a high to a low emotion because you're back to reality. But if you're able to create the life that you desire to experience, and you had a tool to do it, maybe you ought to rethink: can I give up a weekend? Because your ego goes, nah, you should be doing something else. The ego's afraid that it's going to lose control. Therefore, if you will contact me at Dr. Michael Gross, number 7 at gmail.com, we'll talk about it, see if it's right for you. If it's not right for you, I'm going to say, no, come back another time. 12 protocols is very important for you to understand. What makes it different is I'm teaching what I call the mystery schools. Before the time of Christ, I was one of the teachers there. I discovered that. Actually, my students discovered it before I did. And this is what's so important. You have preconceived beliefs that you learned from your family and friends by the time you're 8 years old. Some of them are limiting, and some of them are very expansive for you. But if you change those limiting beliefs and turn it around and eliminate them, then you're more able to create the life you so desire. Also, is that you will learn how to tune in the vibration and energy of it. It's just like, you know, you go to a party, you don't like the music, so you're not in tune with the music. Then one person plays a song you like, and you start dancing and moving around because you understand and felt the energy of that music. What if you can create the energy of that music, figurative speech, of something you desire to be created in your life. That's another point you're going to learn. And you're going to learn how to release all fears and doubts, release anything that is not necessary in your life, and learn how to bring into your life the many different facets of love and joy and happiness. And it's even more far reaching, learning about frequencies, energies, vibrations, learning about how you connect your heart, your stomach, and brain to create something beautiful in your life, and learn how to first create it and then speed up the creation to come into your life, and learn how not to manifest out of fear or emergency, but manifest on an ongoing basis so that you never have to be concerned about it. That's the difference. And this is my third year of doing it. So again, if you contact me at drmichaelgross7@gmail.com, leave me your telephone number and where you live, I'll be more than happy to get a hold of you. You also have my telephone number, it's my private cell, and leave me a message and then text me afterwards. Very important. If you're just going to text me, you may have to wait a day or two. I get so many texts, and I usually don't look at them till 2 o'clock in the morning. But I see if you called, I'll look for your text, and the first free moment I get, I will get in touch with you. Also, I'd like to talk to you about every Tuesday evening, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. We do Soul Awakening. Well, really, what is that? Information that you already know, or maybe you've forgotten in this lifetime, or maybe you've forgotten in this lifetime, or a past lifetime. And it's very empowering, and I try to answer all your questions, hopefully I can, and leave a 10-minute message. It's on freeconferencecall.com. To you, give them that information.
I'd be happy to. That number is 202-926-1059, and the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound.
One more time.
Please.
That's 202-926-1059, and the code, Michael?
125-446-pound. Using the same information the second Saturday of every month, 9:55 a.m. Pacific time to 11:01. And we stick that within a minute or two. We do the mass consciousness. It's where we do a meditation to send healing to everything and everyone that exists on this planet. It's very inspiring. You become part of that love, you become a conduit. And once you experience it, hopefully you'll want to be addicted to it, so you'll want to experience it more and more, knowing you can always do it on your own. And to access that information, it's the same as freeconferencecall.com. Please give it to them again.
Okay, it's 202-926-1059, and the code, Michael?
125-446-pound, so it's identical. And another point is that there are these podcasts that we do on YouTube. Also, there's some messages with award-winning photographer T.U. Knapp with some of the quotes from the True Source. And give them that information, how they can get it on YouTube.
If you go to Dr. Michael B. Gross on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because on Dr. Michael B. Gross, you'll see a lot of the recordings that we've done on Thursday nights, and they go back several years now. And you can also catch those some of those 10-minute recorded messages that he does on Tuesday nights as well. So shall I give them that number as well, Michael?
Yes.
Okay. If you're looking at the recordings, and I'm going to quote Michael here, okay? If you're stuck in traffic, having a bad day, need something positive, then dial into this number, 434-300-4170, and the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound.
Then what happens?
One more time, please.
Okay, I'll give it one more time, and then you tell them what happens when they get into the call, okay? It's 434-300-4170, 4170. And the code, Michael?
125446 pound. So when you call in, it's going to ask you what number. And I started number 3 to about 370 at this point. And none of them are labeled. And you've heard me say this before. I said, oh gosh, I forgot to label it. True Source, no, you didn't. You want to read through 370 labels? Nope. Share this with the souls. Tell them, ask their soul, what number should I hear between number 3 and 370? And you'll think, I think it's 121. I don't know why. And then you listen to 121. Gosh, just what I wanted to listen to. Most of them are between 10 and 12 minutes. Few are a little longer, but they're pretty powerful. And when you're upset or angry, whatever's going on in your life, this will help bring balance. So I desire to share that all with you. And I'm going to ask all of you, when you do go to YouTube, don't forget to push the subscribe button, because there's an algorithm. And the more people that watch you, the higher the algorithm, the more people have access to this information. So what is the cost of this information? Cost is that it will raise your vibration, make your soul happy, and you'll be spreading love and cheer all around you. It's pretty worthy cost, isn't it? So think about that, everyone. And lastly, I want to share with you a wonderful book. I grabbed the wrong book, called Healing the Holes in Your Soul. Book written by Tiu Knapp. It's all about a woman who went through the ashes of pain and rebirth into the mythological bird, the phoenix. Besides, I like the guy that wrote the forward into it. So I would encourage all of you to read this book. It's inspiring, it's life-changing, it gives you hope and helps you to open the door of a life of love and joy and happiness, and learning that everything you went through has empowered you. It's a must read.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for your kind words on that book. And I know that guy who wrote the forward in that book, because he's the guy that wrote this book, The Spiritual Primer by Dr. Michael Gross. And I just have to say that when I met you, Michael, I was a wallflower. I would stand, I couldn't go in a room and not hide in a corner somewhere. And today I'm happy to say that I'm in there, encouraging others to also not be stuck in the corner and hiding, because we all have value. We all have a purpose for being here. We all have a beautiful soul within us, and our journey and our mission in life is to share unconditional love. And I would not have known any of that had it not been for meeting you and this wonderful book that you wrote. Because had it not been for you, Michael, and this golden nugget here that I'm holding, the book that you're holding wouldn't even be in existence. So I am incredibly blessed and honored that you've taken the time to be with us tonight, and that you continue to share your wisdom with us, all of us. And it's a gift you bless us with. So I'm going to put this beautiful book down. I highly recommend it. It's the original book that you handed me with a beautiful inscription. And I'm going to let the people know that, Michael, if you want Michael's book or you want my book, contact us through email. Email us or text us, because Michael's current book is not on Amazon, and you can't get an autograph, you can't get an inscribed copy through Amazon, but you can through us. Okay. So, Michael, there's one more thing that I hope you'll let them know that you also offer.
Yes. Just want to talk about the books. So I understand someone just said, let's see, one of my books are now offered on Amazon. I think she said for $2,500 or $25,000. I said, whoa, that's pretty cool.
I haven't seen that one yet.
No, I haven't seen it. I got to check it out. But
I will say this, Michael. I will say this, though, just before I interrupt you. Pardon me. This book in my world is priceless. It saved my life. Definitely. It's a great gift for those you love and care about. And I would, $25,000 or whatever, it's priceless in my world. Thank you.
Thank you. When you order the book, it's $29.95. It'll be shipped to you. There's no shipping charge, no handling charge. It'll be shipped to you. Not going to get there overnight. It'll take a few days, but we will be more than happy to share our books with you. So thank you. I just want to offer all of you that are here, that are new, a complimentary consultation. Or if you're interested about the protocols of manifestation, text me. But first call me, then you text me. All right. Or you can go to my website, drmichaelgross7 @gmail. Leave your telephone number and what your time zone is, and I will get back to you and answer any questions. I'm not going to sell you anything. You're talking about the protocols. I said, this is what we're going to do. If you're interested, let me know. Talk about the book. If you're interested, I'll be glad to, mail you one if you're interested in it. That's it. That's my whole sales pitch. I do not look at what I do as a business. What I look at is fulfilling a service which I pledged myself when I incarnated. That's my mission and goal, to help all of you reconnect with the true source, or some say God, the true source, to do your spiritual mission and goals, and also to turn this planet into unconditional love. That's not airy fairy. We're reaching a point where we're going to have a strong possibility of doing it. So thank you, everyone. And just remember, you're created out of love, by love, and from love, and with love. And you are unlimited. Namaste. We love you. Take care, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you, Michael.